Professor of Engineering at the University of Southern California and joins us from Los Angeles. Professor Meshkati, thank you very much for being with us here on the News Hour. First up then, why do you think Japan didn't, after this terrible disaster, completely close down all its nuclear plants?
Good morning from Los Angeles, Mr. Kamali, to you. And the issue of the nuclear power in Japan is very complicated because that country, as you know, is not very resource rich. And the 54 nuclear reactors before the accident, they produced a good portion of Japanese electricity. And after this accident, they had to shut down all the nuclear power plants, and only 9 of them are working right now. But there is a big pushback still in Japan vis-a-vis nuclear power.
And talk to us about nuclear power then, Professor Meshkati, because of course many people will think about the fact that we need to reduce our carbon footprint. What role does nuclear power generation play in that?
Nuclear power plays a very big role right now. There are around 400 nuclear power reactors going around the world. In your beautiful country, Turkey, they are building 4 reactors in Akuya area near Mersin region. And I think it's when all these 4 reactors, they come online, they expect to produce something like 10% of Turkish electricity. And the same thing going on in many other countries. But nuclear, of course, has some risks, but it can be managed safely. That's the key issue, to manage this technology safely, as France has done it, for example.
Absolutely. And you say manage safely, but I'm sure that after Chernobyl, there was a thought that they should have managed that safely. After Fukushima, they thought that they should have managed that safely. What was learned from those 2 disasters as to how to manage nuclear power safely?
That's an excellent question, Mr. Kamali. One lesson that we learned from Fukushima, I visited Chernobyl, and I've been a member of the committee from U.S. National Academy of Sciences that we went to Fukushima and produced this massive report. One important lesson that I learned at least, from both Chernobyl and Fukushima is we need to pay attention to the safety culture of the plant and safety culture of the utility that runs this nuclear power. And also at the same time, we need to have an independent regulator, independent from industry, independent from government, that they could oversee the safety of these plants. These are the 2 essential requirements: healthy safety culture and independent regulator.
Excellent. And finally then, Professor Meshkati, every chance I get to speak to someone of your expertise, I like to try and ask them about this. There is an experiment going on in France called ITER about nuclear fusion. When I read into nuclear fusion, it's limitless clean energy. What are your thoughts on nuclear fusion, and how far away are we from having a nuclear fusion reactor?
That's a very good question. There is an experiment going on in China, also on nuclear fusion, as you said, also in France. I think they are still at the experimental stage, and I don't know to what extent they can become commercial, but to produce something that we call it baseload. At the same time, there is other initiative going on, which is called small modular reactors, that they are safe and they become very much like the diesel generators that we can put in different places, and we don't need to build them on site. They are built in factory, they brought it on site and they assembled over there.
Okay, excellent. We have to leave it there, Professor, I'm afraid, but thank you very much for being with us. Professor Najmedin Meshkati from the University of Southern California. It's a pleasure to talk to you.